Members, it's time to start the meeting. Please take a seat.
今日我哋安排咗咧就3節嘅會議。
For today, we have arranged 3 sessions. After the first session, that is at 5:30, we are going to have a 10-minute break. After the second session, we are going to have a half-hour meal break. If members would like to order meal box, then please fill out the order form tabled before you and have it returned to the stewards. I just want to remind members that if you have direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to the matters discussed today, please declare the nature of the interest before you speak in accordance with Rule 83A of the Rules of Procedures. Please take note of Rule 84 of the Rules of Procedure in relation to the provisions for voting concerning matters that you have a direct pecuniary interest. I would like to take you to paper FCR 2012 to 1354, Head 170, Social Welfare Department. We resume our scrutiny of the Old Age Living Allowance, and this is to seek members' approval in relation to a total supplementary provision of $2,575.2 million in 2012 to 13 under Head 170, Social Welfare Department. And for the purpose of introducing the Old Age Living Allowance and an increase in the ceiling placed on the total notional annual midpoint salary value of all non-directorate posts in the permanent establishment of the SWD in 2012 to 13 from $1.982 million by $23 million to $2,005 million to create 90 non-direct civil service posts for introducing the OALA. In attendance, we have the SLW, Mr. Matthew Jiang. We have also the Deputy Secretary of Labour and Welfare, Ms. Ingrid Young, and Mr. Lip Dak-kun, Director of Social Welfare, and the Deputy Director of Social Welfare, Mr. Fong, and the Assistant Director of Social Welfare, Ms. Long. At the meeting of the FC on the 9th of November, members had already held 6 hours discussion. If members do not query or have other comments, members may. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, Mr. Chairman, I formally move a motion. That is how we should now adjourn the meeting. So you are now moving a motion to stop the discussion. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, what actually would you like to move? I need to clarify with you. That is, we need to adjourn the discussion so that there will be more time for us to take up the matter with the administration. We would like to remove the income test for the OALA for applicants aged 70 or above. You would like to adjourn the discussion? Yes, so as to have more time for discussion. So I formally move the motion. Clerk. Well, at our last meeting, in relation to paper FCR 2012 to 1354, in accordance with paragraph 39 of the FC Rules of Procedure, he had already moved a motion to adjourn the debate. Although it is not specifically provided as to whether members can move more than once a motion to adjourn the debate. Under Rule 40(3), there is a provision concerning such matters, where in fact it says that if the motion to adjourn the discussion or the debate has been negatived, then the electrical must continue to scrutinize the issue before members unless a public officer is to move a motion to adjourn the debate. Well, there are two reasons. For today, my ground to move such a motion is that I hope that the administration will have more time to consider the proposal to waive the income tax for the elders. Yes, I understand it. I think the clerk is merely telling us that there is this provision, and he urges us to consider the matter. Because as he has already mentioned, last time we already discussed the motion to adjourn the debate, so you may not move it again. Last time, Ms. Chen Yunhan was about another paper, but here we are still dealing with the paper from last week. If you haven't banned it, then we may do it again. No, it's not like that. I think the clerk has already raised a point. In other words, you may not move again, and then we should go back to Rule 37A. Well, if the rules of procedure empowers me, and then if you don't agree with me, and if you want me to do things not provided for under rules of procedure, then others will start asking me to do many other things. No, I just want to discuss the matter with you. Lam Kwok Hong, I think everybody knows what you want to drive at. I simply, follow the rules of procedure. If the rules of procedure allow you to do it weekly under Rule 39, then you may do it. But then the rules of procedure don't provide for that, and it's not just my own decision. Which one of the FC rules? There's 39, and then the relevant rules of procedure is 39. Well, if members do not have queries, then I would like to finish with what I was about to say. That is, please deal with 37A. So far, we have that is rules 37A under the rules of procedure of the FC. We've received 110 motions. Mr. Zhang, I press the button to speak. 1 minute, please. Mr. Fernando Zhang. I asked this question at the panel meeting, but it wasn't answered. Well, briefly speaking, for the OALA is a measure to alleviate poverty. Last time I referred to two specific cases. There was this cleaner, age 68, living on his own. He was living in a 120 square foot subdivided flat. He would need $4,500 to make his ends meet. And then another case, 68 years old, occupying a 900 square foot unit worth $10 million in Taikoo Shing with a lump sum pension of $2 million. And he's being given $15,000 as a monthly annuity, and then another $15,000 from his son. So he's got $30,000. So somebody sitting on $30,000, he would still be entitled to the OALA, and yet for the other one, the cleaner, he needs $4,500, and yet he won't be entitled to the. He has got an income of $4,500. He won't be entitled to the OALA. Mr. Zhang, SLW. The scheme is designed in such a way that we look at the assets as well as the income. We don't look at the expenditure side. This is because we are now looking at the yardstick applicable to those aged 69. We haven't changed the yardstick. It is familiar to the elders, so that the elders will find it easy to comprehend. So our design is made as easy and simple as possible, and it has been put into practice for over 20 years. So we don't look at the expenditure side. You referred to 2 examples. I think that example is an extreme case. You should ask me whether I have an answer. I'm afraid that the scheme as designed cannot help him. But what we aim at is to help a large number of elders. 400,000 elders will benefit from the OALA. Mr. Zhang, you are now speaking for the 14th time. Well, SOW couldn't actually tell me how the measure can alleviate poverty. My following question is, in many privately run residential care homes for the elders, in the past, whenever an extra month's OAA or extra month's CSSA was paid, now for the private home operators, since the elderly residents' passbook as well as the name jobs were with the home operators, they would usually pocket the extra payment. So I want to ask the administration, what will be done by you to prevent the private homeowners to abuse the newly introduced OALA to the tune of $2,200, Director of Social Welfare? Well, for elders who reside in private RCH, whether they are on OAA or CSSA or on OALA in future, for the private homes, there must be a degree of transparency for the fees charged. Should there be a change in the fees, they have to inform the elders and their family members. We do have established procedures to handle such matters, and when there are complaints, and in fact we'll watch out for this during our inspections. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, the 19th time. Mr. Yu Kwok Him. Mr. Chairman, during the last meeting, you said that we had completed the discussion and we had entered into the voting process. How come that you are going back? No, I haven't. We haven't started. Even if we have finished with 37A, that is the motions under 37A, we can still have discussions and questions. This is the rules of procedures. You are not happy with it, but members may ask questions, so we have to continue to allow them to ask questions. Mr. Yu Kwok Kim, it's not a matter of whether I'm happy or not. I just want to clarify the facts. The fact is, that is the fact. That's why I'm giving him the floor. Well, I can't really understand the point raised by the clerk. I'll let him have time to explain the matter. Well, for the Finance Committee procedure, if you turn to Rule 39, a member without notice may move a motion to adjourn the debate. That is a motion to say that the meeting should be adjourned. At the last meeting, in relation to FCR 2012-1354, in accordance with the FC procedure 39, he has already moved a motion which has been negatived. Therefore, even though the FC procedures haven't got a specific provision to say that the member may not raise a similar motion, but of course, as I have said, we may refer to Rule 40, bracket 3, which refers to the usual practice. For FC procedure, Rule 39, there is another way to adjourn. That is, the meeting be now adjourned to have him debate. So it depends on the motion to be moved, and this one provided the information.
Dr. Fernando Jiang, you have to press the button again. All right, Dr. Jiang, the 15th round, 1 minute. Yes, I'd like to follow up on this because just now, according to the director, if there are additional fees and charges imposed by the residential home, then that will have to be approved by the SWD. But then in many homes, they would directly deal with the family members of the elders staying there. And in some cases, the family members might be too busy, and therefore they would just hold on to the passbook, and they would say that, all right, everything that you need to deal with, we can do that on your behalf, whether it's a CSSA or other payments. Well, I think it's a rather common practice amongst the elderly homes and also family members. I think we will have to deal with that more carefully because for taxpayers' money, if it's intended to help the elders, but then if it's pocketed by the private homes, then that's not a proper use of our resources. Well, please do make sure that you can finish within 1 minute because very often you would overrun on your 1 minute and you will have to queue up again. Can you be more brief? Because you're only given 1 minute. Yes, Mr. Lee Chia-Yan. Chairman, 1 minute is simply too short for question and answer. So I'm sure you understand that. And I'm not sure if the administration has paid any concerns to those who are suffering from dementia. All right, for demented elders, they won't know how to make an application. They won't have any idea as to how much money they have in their savings account. And therefore, for the demented elders, all right, we should not be calling them demented or senile. Well, all right. They are losing their cognitive powers. All right. For these demented elders, what are you going to do to help them? Because the SWD will not be able to identify them and help them, and therefore they might be at their own defense, and they don't know how to make a declaration after 2 years. All right, 4 seconds, Director. Thank you, Chairman. Well, for the latest term, well, that's dementia. And for these elders, if they are not able to make decisions on their own, well, we do have some system on beneficiaries, and also guardians, and also through the SWD there are various channels to reach out to these elders, and if they need help, then we will take up those cases through those channels. Mr. Lang Kwok Hong, well, Rule 39 doesn't say that you can only raise that motion once, and as well, actually, as soon as we finish with the debate, we immediately move back to 43, and that's been over, and therefore I raise this again, and therefore we will have to discuss it again. I think the logic is simple. Secretary, well, Chairman, as I just said, even though in the Finance Committee procedure there is no mention of this, but then I'd also like to invite members to refer to Rules of Procedure 43. But then 43 says that when a motion that the debate be adjourned has been negatived, the debate on the question then before the Council shall be continued. So immediately after my motion was negatived last week, we continue with the debate again. But then it also says that no further motion that the debate be now adjourned shall be moved during that debate except by a designated public officer. Dr. Fernando Jiang, sorry, Chairman, he hasn't answered my question just now, so I'll give him 1 minute to answer the question. All right, you do know the question. Yes, Chairman. As I said, for the fees and charges imposed by private homes, and if they have any adjustment in terms of the fees, and also if they have any surcharges, then number one, they will have to let the elders know. So there is a procedure requiring them to notify them properly, and also in rolling out this scheme, for example, it's like what we did with regard to the additional months of CSSA and also OAA. We would always write to the relevant elderly homes reminding them of things to note. And also during our inspection, we would also pay attention to this. And if we receive any complaint, then we will take it up seriously. Chairman, that would not be adequate because, well, by notifying the family members, but then the family members would not be able to do anything at all because whatever they charge, then they will just have to pay it. They have no alternative. Director, well, for the private homes, yes, they do have the power to determine the fees and charges, but then what we require them to do is that there will have to be a degree of transparency, and in doing so, they will also have to notify the elders and also their family members, and there are also code of conducts regulating these private homes, and they will have to comply with those rules and procedures. Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen, I follow up on the issue you raised. I understand that for trustees and so on, yes, that would be for amounts below 10,000. But then if there is a trustee making the declaration on their behalf, but then I don't know, well, what should be the amount. For example, for every year, you're actually talking about over $10,000 because the monthly payment will be $2,200. So will the trustee be able to help the beneficiaries like that or the recipients? Well, if it's proven that they are incapacitated, they do not have the cognitive power to deal with such applications, then we will arrange for a trustee to take up the issue on their behalf. In the past, for example, in applying for the $6,000 handout and also for welfare payments, like certain services, and also where there are supplements or allowances being distributed, that would also be dealt with in the same manner. Yes, Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Chairman. With regard to the Finance Committee procedure, why should that be mixed up with the rules of procedure? Because for the rules of procedure regulating council meetings, well, if you exceed a certain deadline, then you will have to come back again only after a certain period of time. But then under Finance Committee procedure, 39 is silent. Yes, for 33, but then for 40, for rules of procedure, for other sub-paragraphs, they deal with how motions should be dealt with, but then for the Finance Committee procedure, it's silent on this. Secretary, as I said, for the FC procedure, paragraph 39, is as what Mr. Lam just said, there is no express provision regulating or governing how that should be dealt with. That's why I was referring to the rules of procedure, and there are similar procedures for members to refer to. Because in the FC procedure, there is another provision saying that members would not be allowed to raise such or move such motion, but then apparently that it doesn't apply here. Well, we will follow the council meetings procedure or the council's procedures. Where the FC rules or procedures are silent, we will always refer to the rules of procedure. I think you've already raised that time and again. You've been doing that time and again because we can't always follow the rules of procedure, because the rules of procedure do provide that if a certain issue or subject has been rejected, then there are rules or procedures for the public officers to raise it again. Well, can I refer members to 43? It's about the same set of rules, and its application of the rules to committees. The rules in this part shall apply to the proceedings in a committee unless the chairman of the committee orders otherwise. In other words, for the relevant provision, if members agree, then they could also be applied to the relevant committees unless the chairman orders otherwise. So does that mean that when you refer us to Rule 40, the entire rule will apply? In other words, after a motion has been negatived, then we will have to follow 6A, 7, and 8 under Rule 40. Is that the procedure to follow? Well, if members recall, the WSP chairperson, Ms. Chen Yun Han, did move a motion to adjourn the funding proposal for OALA, and it did. And subsequently, the administration gave another notice, and a new paper was submitted to the FC for the issue to be reactivated. So it's not a new paper, but then the proposal was resubmitted in accordance with the notice requirement, and then the chairman exercised his discretion, and he agreed that that would be put on the agenda dated 30th of October for discussion. In other words, the chairman can exercise discretion not to follow Rule 40. Is that right? Rule 40, Rule 45, sorry, Rule 46. If the administration thinks that it's a pressing matter, then the chairman can decide not to follow Rule 46, right? Well, last time members agreed to adjourn the debate on the item, but then in response to the request made by the administration, and the chairman also made reference to members' views, he exercised discretion to waive the notice period, and he agreed that the item be put back on the agenda date of the meeting held on the 30th of October. So will he be able to exercise the same discretion? If it's a discretion that can be exercised by the chairman, then of course it will apply to the entire rule. Then you cannot say that, Mr. Leung, you will have to follow Rule 43, and then the chairman will be able to exercise discretion to do otherwise. Well, if he can exercise discretion under 40, then why not the same discretion for 43? I don't think you should confuse the two, because you can't say that, well, last time you exercised discretion and therefore this time you should also exercise discretion, because the two should not be mixed up. I think you do understand it, but then you just pretend not to understand it, and therefore you're actually wasting our time, right? Because after the meeting, I can invite the secretary and even the legal advisor, and if you like it, you can also meet with me, and then we can explain things to you. Would that be okay? No, legal advisor, I just would like to ask a simple question. All right, 43 means that he cannot exercise discretion, but then how come under 40 he can exercise the discretion? Well, Chairman, last time members agreed to that. That's why under the relevant rules of procedure, the chairman exercised the discretion. But then last time, with regard to the adjournment motion, it was rejected. So the situation or the circumstances would be different, because on one occasion, members agreed to that, on the other, members rejected it. In other words, with members' consent, then the chairman would be able to exercise discretion. In other words, the chairman already exercised his discretion to adjourn the debate. In other words, under 40, you said that under subparagraph 3, he cannot exercise discretion. So why can't we follow Rule 40? But then 43 says that he cannot exercise discretion, and sorry. No, that's not the way he put it. But then you're actually doing it in a very circumvented manner, and you're arguing that he could do so. But then on the first occasion, we could exercise the discretion because that was agreed by members, and therefore the administration submitted a new paper with additional information, and then I exercised discretion to allow them to do so. It's not about whether you can move it time and again. So it's not about me exercising the discretion to allow you to move it time and again. Please do not mislead all of us, including me. Sorry, I think you have misheard us. I think you have misunderstood me. I think you're trying to confuse me. It's not. You're not trying to confuse yourself. You're actually trying to confuse me. I don't want to argue with you about the procedures. And actually, nobody or no member would like to discuss it. I'm not going to debate with you on this because I've already explained to you very clearly. And it's like what the administration explained to you, because you can ask that 100 times, and so long as you're not able to get your desired answer, you will continue to ask. I don't think there is a need for me to dwell on it with you like that. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong, sorry. I don't think I will have to continue to discuss with you on this. So please do not tell the chairman as to what he should be doing and so on and so forth. Do you have other questions? Chairman, I think you have misunderstood me. No, I don't think I've misunderstood you. Please do not say that I've misunderstood you. Well, please listen to me. Indeed, because I'm not sure if you have heard yourself clearly. I thought I heard you very clearly. All you are trying to do is to move this motion under 39, right? I'm trying to ask the secretary, how can you answer on behalf of the secretary? No, because you've been saying chairman, and therefore after the secretary has already answered your question, and if you continue to put questions to you, and if you continue to put questions to the official, if you're not able to get the answer that you want, then you will just continue to ask.
Well, Rule 39 is not clear on this point, so the clerk refers us to Rule 40, bracket 3 of the Rules of Procedures. For 40, bracket 3, it says that we can't move again if you say that there's no discretion. Last time the motion was carried, and yet under 46, you exercise discretion for 40 bracket 6. This is for the chairman to exercise discretion to waive the notice. So it's not discretion to interpret the rule as he likes. For Rule 39, if you need to rely on other rules to explain, to interpret Rule 39, then why can't you have discretion? Rule or paragraph 39 hasn't actually spelled out the requirement. Mr. Lim Tai Fai, I think why don't we pause, and then we are also getting confused. It's not a matter of whether to suspend the meeting or not. I think it is very clear. The clerk has explained. If you still don't understand it, no, you try to stop you, but he's very good at dwelling on it. Other than throwing things, he's very good at dwelling on a matter. I want you to be sure that you fully understand the clerk. I hope the clerk can take up the matter with Leung Kwok Hong, sort it out with him. Mr. Leung is still dragging, and he wants to do it before the TV camera. It doesn't hurt, and I don't query your idea of pausing for 10 minutes. Now the clerk may explain the matter to him again, but then if you don't allow him to invoke Rule 39, he'll just come back to do it again. You propose it, so we have a break of 10 minutes.
各位同事，我哋
Members, we have stopped for 10 minutes. It's time to resume, and we have also got a quorum. So on this matter, does any other member wish to ask questions? If not, then members may start to deal with paragraph 37A. That is a motion to be moved under paragraph 37A. So far, we have received 110 motions from members. Mr. Fernando Cheung withdrew one of them. Other than that, I think that all such motions are directly related to the matter before us. I am not going to provide a verbatim report from this point onwards, but then we will prepare the minutes. So in accordance with paragraph 37A of the FC procedures, we'll deal with the motions. First of all, please look at motion 001, moved by Dr. Fernando Cheung, and it has been put up on the screen. Fernando Cheung isn't here. Can somebody get him back? Is he in the conference room?
兩個議員都係做。
Leung Kwok Hong, why don't we deal with your motions? Yes, but then you said 10 minutes. Have 10 minutes passed? We have exceeded 10 minutes. I did look at my watch. If we don't have a quorum, we have to ring the bell. I haven't got a copy. It's been uploaded onto the screen. Can I read it from the screen? Wait for the clerk to explain the matter to you. Well, we have already got the wording, so please double-click the icon. If you don't want to look up the screen, in fact, on the computer screen before you, you can double-click the icon and then you can have the wording before you. 0009 is a motion moved by Leung Kwok Hong. Can we put the matter to the vote? We need to read it out. We must read it out. What we did last time was that if members would like to claim a division, then you will get your chance to read it out when the bell is rung. But it doesn't matter, you can read it out yourself. Now, Mr. Chairman, in accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedures, I move that for the Old Age Living Allowance in relation to the duration of adjustment of the payment rate, the administration should review it once every year and inform this council or inform this committee. All right, I put the matter to the vote. Those who are in favor of the motion, hands up, please. Those who are in favor. 4. Those who are against. I think there are more members objecting to the motion than those who are in favor, so the motion has been negatived. 0010. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with, Michael Tian, do we need to read it out like this? We can all read it. Can we not vote on it immediately? This is part of the procedures. I don't know. I'm new to the council. Must it be read out? Is there any rule on the speed of reading it out? Clerk, I think the principle is whether members are clear about the motion to be voted on. So it's up to the FC itself to make a decision. Now that a member has raised the point, I think it's better to put the matter to the vote.
If that is the case, then what if you prepare the speech and there is no way that you can read out the speech? Is that right? Well, we are just saying whether we are able to see it clearly by using the PowerPoint, and some members have suggested that we discuss it. All right, can you raise your hands, Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen and Mr. Lee Cheuk-yen and Ms. Sit-Ho? All right, Lee Cheuk-yen, you speak first because I saw your hand raised just now. Well, Chairman, I'm concerned that the FC is a very open meeting, and if we do not read that out, then whether for those who are listening to the radio or those who are watching TV, they will have difficulty. They will have difficulty following our proceeding. That's why, to facilitate all members of the public who are now watching this debate, I think for openness, we should allow him to read that out. Ms. Sito, yes, because there is live broadcast and some elders do not have a screen to look at, and therefore if that's read out, then whether they are reading very slowly at whatever speed, it won't take too long. So why don't we just allow him to do it? Yes, because it's too ambiguous. Both myself and Mr. Mok Nai Kwong cannot see the fonts very clearly. That's why I think it's better to have it read out. Yes, Mr. Lang Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with the procedures of FC, paragraph 37A, I would like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it twice a year, and the results should be notified to this council. All right, will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. Yes, Mr. Ip Kwok Him claims a division, and the bell will ring for 5 minutes.
即係我唔需要翻返去。 現在開始表。
Voting begins. Please press the present button and then you can press one of the three buttons to indicate your stance on the motion, whether you are for, against, or abstaining. Alright, the lights are back on again. So please press the button to indicate your presence, and then you can press one of the three items to indicate your stance on the motion. Yes? So please indicate your stance on the motion. Either you are for, against, or abstaining. Alright, before I declare the results, please verify your votes, and if you continue to speak while I'm speaking, then you won't be able to hear me clearly. Then I don't know which one should be held accountable. So please do respect me while I'm speaking. Mr. Raymond Wong. Before I declare the voting result, members, please verify your votes. Voting is closed. And the results will be displayed. 61 present, 1 for, 37 against, 22 abstentions, and the voting result is the motion is negatived. Mr. Lam Tai Fai, Chairman, I ask that for all subsequent votings, can the vote take place after the bell has been rung for 1 minute? Alright, there is a suggestion that the voting time be kept to 1 minute. Alright, any objection? We can debate on the subject. We can debate. Chairman, I don't think you need to debate on this. So why can't we go straight to the voting? Well, some are against, some are for, and it's been proposed that the votes will have to be cast after 1 minute. Yes, I'm of course in support of your ruling, but then according to the procedures, we can debate on it. We can debate on it. If you do not allow members to speak, then that's not in compliance with the FC procedures. Who would like to speak? Please press the button to request to speak. Mr. Lam Tai Fai. Chairman, my question is whether you are allowed to speak. My question is when you put the motion to vote, then the bell will be rung for 1 minute instead of 5. But then Mr. Albert Chan can ask the questions later. But then please do decide on my motion. So you are only asking that the bell be rung for 1 minute, and then you can cast your vote. But then he's against it. So is he against the 1 minute, or is he saying that he should be allowed to speak? But then, before we make a decision on whether we should require members to cast their votes after the bell has been rung for 1 minute, he would like to speak. So, does any member wish to speak? Please raise your hand. Mr. Lang Kwok Hong 5 minutes. Well, for the 1 minute rule, I don't think it's appropriate. Because from 0 to 5, I think it should have been 2.5 minutes. Because usually we would say that we try to be accommodating and we should go for more harmony. But then from 1 to 5 minutes, from 0 to 5, how come we have decided on 1? Well, of course, you might go for 30 seconds too. Well, of course, Mr. Lam Tai Fai has done it out of good intentions, but then I think it's better to adopt a middle-of-the-road approach. I think between 0 and 5, we should go for 2.5 minutes. And actually, we are also busy and hard-pressed. I think it's good to take a break. So 2.5 minutes should be okay. You don't have to raise your hand. All you need to do is to press the button, but then the system is breaking down all the time because if you press it too often, I noticed that the design of the system does not allow us to cast our vote once every minute because every time when you try to do it, it will break down. I've already looked at it, and therefore if you try to press the button once every minute, then the device simply will not respond. So I've come to be aware of that, and of course Mr. Lam Tai Fai can choose if he would like to take it of my advice, but then if you resort to doing it once every minute, then it's bound to fail. So I hope we can all have an open mind when we look at it, and CY Leung might be watching, and I hope that he can make some concessions, and if he's willing to make some concession, then we will be able to take a break. So you don't want to listen to me? Still, I have to say this, even if it's not palatable to you, and I think 2.5 minutes would be better. To wall size, I think it's more more hygienic, and also it's also a middle-of-the-road approach. So once again, I'd like to ask Mr. Leung to take back this requirement so that for those 70 or above, they would all be eligible for the OALA. Then it would be good for all. Mr. Albert Chen, I'll not be speaking for up to 5 minutes because people will accuse me of filibustering. Then I think 1 minute is not appropriate because we're talking about the well-being of the elders, and therefore we should not just do it for the sake of saving time. We might ignore the fact that each motion might have implications on the elders, and of course I understand that for some members, whatever suggestion you make, whatever motion you move, however good it's going to be for the elders. We're doing this for the benefit and well-being of the elders so that they can have a better livelihood. They would not be supporting it. For example, I suggest that there should be an $8,000 rebate, and a majority of you are against it. And I was surprised. So I think if we can give everybody a few more minutes, then number one, we'll be able to take a closer look at the motion, because I believe that many members who are now in this council, they have no idea as to what the motion is about. They have no idea as to what the motion is all about, and therefore, so long as it's moved by Mr. Lang Kwok Hong, they will say no to it. And therefore, if we can have a little more time, then people can be wiser and be more rational.
And also do some good for the elderly. Now, you may be saying that you help the elderly. The other day, you said that you would like to help the poor, but in fact, the motions to help the poor were surprisingly defeated. Yes, time is precious, but at the same time, we need to help the poor. We have to work for the well-being of the elderly. Don't just for the sake of the saving of a few minutes, we ignore the welfare of the elderly. So I suggest 1 minute 45 seconds. So the bell will be rung for 5 minutes, and there will be a division.
現在
Voting begins, so please press the button to indicate your presence, and then you choose one among the 3 buttons. Why are you so talkative? So as to indicate your stance, whether you are for, against, or you abstain. Before I declare the results, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The results are displayed. The results are The results are 56 present, 34 for, 5 against, 15 abstentions. So the motion has been passed. So we are going to ring the bell for 1 minute. I don't know what my vote was like. The screen was showing, but then it disappeared. I couldn't see it. I can make copies of this voting result table. It was shown on the screen. Now, members, I saw on the screen the voting results. Whether you were for or against, you may very well criticize it being switched off so quickly. It is not that it wasn't shown, but it was. You said you gave us 30 seconds to check the vote. But it was less than 3 seconds. No, must be more than 3 seconds. I didn't actually talk about 30 seconds. I won't specify 30 seconds. My neck is getting very stiff. I did look around to check your votes. Could you show it again? Are you making the same request? Can we show it again? Clerk, maybe we can print out the voting results for members' reference. Can it not be shown again? We can show it here. Can you not show it on the screen? Don't print hard copies. It's a waste of paper. Can we not go back to the previous screen? The clerk told us that we couldn't go back. Mr. Chairman, why was it switched off so quickly? Did somebody press the button? Clerk. Perhaps the button was pressed a bit too early. We would like to show the results on the screen again. Next time, maybe the clerk should be asked not to switch it off so quickly. This has already been confirmed. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, point of order. Mr. Ronnie Tong, Mr. Chairman, I don't think it was not quite fair to handle it in this way. Earlier on, there was a House Committee discussion. We said that the screen shows the vote of individual members so as to allow members to match the position shown on the screen and his own choice, so that whether there is a man-made mistake or a technical failure and the results cannot be shown, then it is different from what we were talking about a moment ago. You said that you have been looking around, no one raised any query. Yes, I know you have had a hot day and you have been turning your head here and there. But then if the screen goes away or if the data goes away so quickly, there's no way for us to tell whether the vote appearing on the screen is the same as that we have cast. So it's a matter of whether members have sufficient time to verify the vote, whether it reflects our stance. Ronnie, I understand your point. Mr. Lam Tai Fai. I don't think any member would agree with Ronnie Tong. Well, the screen shows the confirmed voting results. Otherwise, let me deal with it. Now it is shown. Does anybody say that is wrong? Did anybody got the wrong voting results? Say, for example, you have pressed the button 4, but it isn't shown like that. I turned my head twice. I didn't talk about giving you 30 seconds or 3 minutes for you to verify it very slowly. I never said so, and I made the same point at the House Committee meeting. What we can do is to print it out for you to have a look. So we show it on the screen, and if you need to change it, then you have time to change it, and then I will declare the results of the voting. And I've been adhering to this practice. Just now I looked twice. No one said that he saw the result. Well, no one said that he couldn't see it. As to whether it was wrong or not, it sprang up, and then I looked around, and then I declared the results. Now, many of you would like to raise your hand to speak. It doesn't matter. We can continue with the discussion. As to how many more seconds I should give you, I don't think I can do that. When the results appear on the screen, I look once and I look again. If nobody raises his hand to say that the vote indicated is not the same as he has cast, if nobody says so, then I will declare the voting results, and I'm not going to change this practice. Now, you are raising your hand. What's the point, Ronnie Tong? Is there anything wrong with the voting results? 2 points. First of all, that's not the crux of the matter as to whether there's anything wrong with the voting result. You're mature enough to know this. It's a matter of whether there's sufficient time to check the result. Why are you so self-defensive? We just want you to give us more time to verify the result. We have not accused you of being in the wrong. Why are you so angry? Just now, I was telling you that I never said that I would give you 30 seconds. And we didn't ask you to give us 30 seconds. Did I ask you to give us 30 seconds? It's unreasonable. What were you saying? I am saying, you are the chair. So what? You are the chair, but you need to talk reason. I wasn't talking about this, so don't put words in my mouth. That's unacceptable. You send me out. I'm not a person that can easily lose my temper, but then as the chairman, you need to be reasonable. I was merely asking for more time to be given. I wasn't criticizing you. Of course, I didn't press the button to switch it off. That's it. So why were you so angry? Just now the clerk said that perhaps someone pressed the button too quickly. Yes, I looked at this point. But then do you know that you were very emotional? You got very infuriated. I wasn't. I'm not. Of course, I'm angrier than you because you are not reasonable. Some suggested that we should have a break. Lam Tai Fai, Mr. Wong Kwok Heng. Mr. Chairman, let me sort out the rules.
All right, the procedures are as follows. That is, when the screen shows the votes, then can we change our stance? My understanding is not, because after you've been asked to press the button, and then after the chairman has asked you to check your votes, and then he will ask the secretary to show or display the results. And then once you have checked your vote, then you should not be saying that, all right, well, there are abstentions and there are others who are voting in favor and so on, and then you can change your mind. No, my understanding is that as soon as the result is displayed, then that's it. And there is no way that you can change it again. There is no way that after you've seen the result and then you can change your mind by changing your vote. Mr. Lam Tai Fai, all right, we have also discussed that at the House Committee meeting, because some members raise queries as to what button they pressed and then what the result is. And then if I remember it correctly, just now the chairman was here and I was also here, and our decision was that for the purpose of allaying members' concerns, because in the past, the the system would not tell you as to what the result is, and the result would just be shown. Well, just now we talk about the dividend. All right. So only after the announcement has been made, then there will be dividends. But then now we will declare the result of the vote, and we are extending the process so that you'll be able to check your votes to see if the button that you've pressed matches the result that is shown here. And if you think that the result doesn't match your vote, then you can say so and raise the point, and then before we declare the result, we will allow you to check your votes again to see if the device is not working or is a mistake on the part of members and so on, so that before the result is declared by the chairman, you can have time to change your vote. We have agreed to allow members to do so. All right, if that's the decision of the majority, then of course I would be abided by that. But then that's the problem of having an open vote. For example, if there is just it's a closed vote, then members can always change their mind, and this is a major loophole that has to be plugged. I understand that, Mr. Ip Kwok Him. Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to remind members of this. There is live broadcast of the meeting here, and if members of the public see that we are actually having this very messy discussion, yes, we will have to be very careful about this. So I suggest that we move back onto the item under discussion as soon as possible so that we can continue with our votes. Thank you. All right, next item. All right, Secretary. All right, on this particular point, yes, Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Yes, Chairman. I think the most important thing is that our device is not working properly. Some of the time, I didn't have time to meet with Mr. Jasper Zhang, the president. I think he should get someone to take a look into the system. All right, if you press the button, yes, but then if it shows that you're actually voting against it, then you will be very angry or agitated by it. But then, Mr. Lam Tai Fai, well, actually, you have to have the system in place or this procedure in place to allow members to verify their votes. All right, the thing is, we are called lawmakers and we are called honorable members. But then if you are trying to do things only in your favor, or if you're trying to backtrack, then of course you do not have any integrity. And what if this member whose vote has been wrongly displayed, then it would also be detrimental, because he might be casting a critical vote. Well, sometimes when I work very late, I understand that they are testing the device all the time and the bell will be rung all the time. But then if you're not able to be sure about the proper functioning of the system, then of course you'll be very agitated. All right, we might have pressed one button, but if the result shows otherwise, then we'll be very angry about it. I think that's understandable, right? So please do not get emotional about this. All right, we are now voting on 0011. As you can see from the display, is a motion moved by Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. All right, the bell will be rung for 1 minute. So Mr. Lam Kwok Hong, while the bell is rung, you can read out the motion. So we will ring the bell while you're reading out the motion. So we'll be doing both simultaneously. You have 1 minute. Can that be done? Is that allowed? All right. We have to follow. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I would like to move that concerning the cycle for adjustment for the OALA, the administration should review it 3 times a year, and the result should also be notified to this council.
佢話合理啊嘛，冇計啊。咁我都核對㗎。
而家進行呢個開始。
Voting begins. please press the button to indicate your presence, and then you can press one of the three buttons to indicate your stance on the motion, whether you're for, against, or you'd like to abstain. Before I declare the result of the voting, please verify your votes. I declare that voting is closed.
Um,
49 present, 1 for, 29 against, 18 abstentions. I declare that the motion is negatived. Next, 0012. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 4 times a year and should inform this council of the result.
佢唔響，我冇辦法㗎，阿哥。你戒我拉布你啫，啊！
現在開始表決。
Voting begins. Please press the button to indicate your presence, and then please press one of the three buttons to indicate your stance on the motion, whether you're for, against, or abstaining. Before I declare the result, please verify your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1 for, 31 against, 16 abstentions. I declare the motion is negatived. Next, 0013. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 5 times a year and should inform this council of the result. Voting begins. Please press the button to indicate your presence, and then press one of the 3 buttons to indicate your stance on the motion, whether you're for, against, or abstaining. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. And the result will be displayed. 1 for, 31 against, 15 abstentions. I declare the motion is negatived. 0014. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Rule or Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 6 times a year and should inform this Council of the result. Before I declare the result, members, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1 for, 33 against, 13 abstentions. I declare the motion negatived.
0015
Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 7 times a year and should inform this Council of the result. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1 for, 31 against, 15 abstentions. I declare the motion is negatived. Well, after the 1 minute, you should give us a little time to press the button because you did not stop after you announced the 1 minute is over. You should have given us 10 odd seconds to press the button after the 1 minute is over. All right, 0015, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. 0015, sorry, 0016.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that in relation to the adjustment cycle of the Old Age Living Allowance, the government should carry out a review 8 times a year and inform this Council. Voting begins. Before I declare the results, members, please check your votes. Voting is ended. The results are 1 for, 33 against, 16 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. 0017, Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that in relation to the adjustment cycle of the payment rate of the OALA, the administration should review it 9 times a year and inform this council. Voting begins. Before I declare the voting results, members, please check your votes. Voting is ended. The voting results are 1 for, 34 against, 13 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that in relation to the payment rate of the Old Age Living Allowance, the government should review 10 times a year the adjustment cycle and inform this council. Voting begins. Before I declare the voting results, members, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The results are 1 for, 33 against, 12 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that the government, in relation to the adjustment of the payment rate of the OALA, should review it 2 times every 2 years and inform this council.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins. Before I declare the voting results, members, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The results are 1 for, 33 against, 11 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that the administration should review the adjustment cycle of the OALA payment rate 2 times every 2 years and inform this Council.
會議室1嘅會議即將進行表決。
Voting begins. Before I declare the voting results, members, please check your votes. Voting is closed. Mr. Michael Tian, I'm against, but it isn't shown here. So please report Mr. Michael Tian's objection to the motion. I think you didn't vote. Perhaps you only voted when the voting has ended. I just came back. Probably at that time the lights have gone. So the results are 2 for, 31 against, 11 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the FC procedure, I move that the administration should review the adjustment cycle of the OALA payment rate 3 times every 2 years and inform this Council.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins. Before I declare the voting results, members, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The voting result is 1 for, 30 against, 12 abstentions. The motion has been negatived. Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the FC procedure, I move that the administration should review the adjustment cycle of the OALA payment rate 4 times every 2 years and inform this Council.
現在開始。
Voting begins. Before I declare the voting result, members please check your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1-4-29 against, 12 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the FC procedure, I move that the administration should review the adjustment cycle of the OALA payment rate 5 times every 2 years and inform this Council.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins. Before I declare the voting result, members please check your votes. Voting is closed. The voting result is 1-4-30 against, 12 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the FC procedure, I move that the administration should review the adjustment cycle of the OALA payment rate 6 times every 2 years and inform this Council.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins. Before I declare the result, members are invited to check their votes. Voting is closed.
And
the result is 1-4-31 against, 11 abstentions. I declare the motion negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with paragraph 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 7 times for every 2 years, and the result should inform this Council of the result. Voting begins.
喺我宣佈表
Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed.
表決結果
The result is 1 for 29 against, 13 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Lang Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 8 times in every 2 years and should inform this council of the result.
會議室一嘅會議即將進行表決。
現在開始表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣佈表決
Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1 for, 30 against, 12 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Lang Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 9 times once every 2 years and should inform this council of the result.
嘅會議即將進行表決。會議室一嘅會議即將進行表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣佈
Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. The result is 1 for, 31 against, 12 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Lang Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, there should be 10 reviews every 2 years, and the administration should inform this council of the result.
現在開始表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣佈表決
Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. And the result is 1 for, 31 against, 13 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it once every 3 years and should inform this Council of the result. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. And the result is 1 for, 29 against, 14 abstentions. I declare the motion negatived. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I'd like to move that concerning the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it twice every 3 years and should inform this Council of the result. Voting begins. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. And the result is 1 for, 29 against, 12 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Leung Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that concerning the adjustment cycle of the OALA, the administration should review it 3 times every 3 years and should inform this Council of the result. Voting begins. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed.
表決嘅結果係
And the result is 2 for, 29 against, 11 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that concerning the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 4 times every 3 years and should inform this Council of the result.
會議室一嘅會議即將進行。
現在開始表決。
Voting begins.
喺我宣佈表決結果
Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed. And the result is 1 for, 29 against, 12 abstentions. I declare the motion negative. Mr. Lam Kwok Hong. Thank you, Chairman. In accordance with Para 37A of the Finance Committee procedure, I move that with regard to the adjustment cycle for the OALA, the administration should review it 5 times every 3 years and should inform this Council of the result.
現在開始表
Voting begins. Before I declare the result, please check your votes. Voting is closed.
The result is 1 for, 29 against, 12 abstentions. I declare that the motion has been negatived. We now have a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 5:40.